Hello, gorgeous. Welcome back to the Mindset Magic and Manifestation Podcast with your girl. It is I, the Michaela J, here to teach you how to manifest your next level luxe life, baby. Today we are audio only. We're not on my couch with my amazing microphone, but that's okay. We are still bringing fire to you today in this audio only podcast. So I'm sorry for my video girlies. We will be back with video very, very soon. I'm excited about today's episode because I'm spilling the full tea on how I manifested making six figures in my very first year of business. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I started my business with that intention. I literally started my business. I remember August 2018 going in being like, I'm ready for a 10K month. Let's do this. 5 figures a month. Here we come. Like a 6-figure year. Let's fucking go. I wanted to make 6 figures by the time I was 21 years old. And I was 20 when I launched my business and I was 21 when I hit 6 figures. And I was just like ready, set, go, basically, when it came to creating a 6-figure business right away. So because that was my intention from the very start, and I was like, all right, let's go build this thing. Like I talk about like wake up and go woman. Because of that, when it happened, it was a big deal to me, but I kind of sweep it under the rug sometimes where I'm like, yeah, I made 6 figures in my first year. And I say it and I know that that's like really amazing and incredible. But I think to me, it was almost normalized from the day I started my business because I knew that's what I was building. So once I hit it, it was like, oh, like this is amazing. This is insane. Like how the fuck? And every person I told that I celebrated with, like my mom and my two best friends at the time, and anybody I told that I was like, oh my God, I hit the 6-figure mark, like my first year in business, nobody knew how to react because we were all so young and everyone was like, I can't even fathom that amount of money. Like what's even going on? And to me, I was like, yay, this is the best thing ever. Again, while it also felt so normal. And I've been reflecting on this recently that I'm like, especially after being in business for years and years and years, how I've realized how uncommon it is to create that result and how long it usually takes people. And so because of a lot of the conversations that I have with my business clients and we're getting them to their 5-figure months and their 6-figure years, I think about like, what was it about me that I made 6 figures in my first year? Like, what did I do? What was I thinking? Like, what was it that made me this like 1%er among other people that go on for years and years and years in their business and they never hit that? Or, people spend their entire lives getting to that point in corporate America. And so I've been thinking about this a lot. I broke it down into 5 different categories of all of the reasons I feel like contributed to me making 6 figures in my first year. And I'm going to share them all with you. I'm not holding back. I have a lot of notes here and I'm really excited to dive into this with you because I personally find this super interesting and I can't wait to make another episode about this in the near future and be like how I manifested my 7-figure year in business. And we're not there yet, but I just cannot wait. Maybe I'll do another one that's like how I manifested multiple 6 figures because I've been making multiple 6 figures for the last 6 years straight. This year will be my 7th, or it'll be my first $1 million year. So I can't wait to continue making episodes like this for you because it's so interesting to see the behind the scenes and see the thought process and hear from somebody who's done it, what they genuinely believe contributed to that, especially somebody like me where I have a lot of conversations with clients and I can see where their gaps are of what we need to shift for them to get there. So I'm going to take you through 5 different categories of things that I feel contributed to the 6 figures. But before we jump in, have you got your ticket to Rich Girl Renaissance Live yet? If you haven't, I truly don't know what you're doing. Rich Girl Renaissance Live is my business conference that I am hosting in Dallas, Texas in September. Rich Girl Renaissance Live is for the woman who's ready to become a content millionaire. I have made multiple millions of dollars in my business all through content. Some people make money in their business through running ads. Some people make millions in their business from speaking gigs. Some people make millions from brand deals and other brands and other companies or network marketing. Some people make whatever. I've made millions from free social media content and from my podcast. And I am pulling back the curtains and sharing everything with you at this conference. Now, there are 3 big chunks that we are covering at Rich Girl Renaissance Live that make this so different from any other conference. One, it's a content conference for any type of business owner. I really get sick and tired of going to events where you just get hype, you just get motivated, you get really inspired, you're pumped up in your energy. But then you go home with just a bunch of random notes and you have no idea how to organize the information you just learned. Especially if there are speakers there. It's like you're taking notes from, the main person hosting the event on the theme of the event. And then you have people come in and they speak about other random things. And now you've got random notes from random people. And it just feels like now you have more on your plate. My conference is extremely streamlined to take you through building a strategy, take you through building a game plan to create content that manifests FES clients for you. And not only that, we're going to be mapping out content for launches so that you can be manifesting sales at the same time. That way, when you walk away from the conference, you have your entire game plan for the rest of Q3 going into Q4. And then we're also going to be creating content on site, which I'm really excited about. So then you're going to go into Q4 with content in your hands, in your camera roll already. Like, how insane is that? So that's one thing that we're going to be really heavily focusing on is actionable, implementable, if that's even a word, content that you get to take home with you. But we're also going to be honing in on you becoming a woman of influence. People can post and post and post and things don't happen because you aren't moving people. You aren't influential enough. And you are an influential human. You're an incredible human. You're the most interesting person you know. But we need to find what makes you influential. We need to tap you into your leadership energy so that people find you, they listen to you, they want to follow you, they want to follow what you're doing, they want to be inside all of your programs, they want to buy all of your offers and services, and they say, oh my gosh, you're going somewhere and I want to go with you. You're doing something big, I want to do something big. People want to work with people that are actually doing shit in the world, not just sitting behind their computer doing the same old, okay? So you need to become this woman of influence, and that's what makes the content sparkle, all right? And I also call this your it factor. We're going to bring out your it factor. We're going to make it 100 times more influential so you can magnetize FES clients into your business. And the third thing we're going to be focusing on at Rich Girl Renaissance Live is your culture. You need to be creating a culture within your business, within your communities, within your content that makes people find your page and say, oh yeah, I belong here. This is my type of woman. If you want to make your next million faster or your first million faster, more strategically, and a lot more of a fun way, you have to include a culture that people want to be a part of, right? There's the element of people see you part of the personal brand, and they're like, ooh, she's on to big things and I want to be on to big things. And so let me go work with her. And then there's a whole other level where you become this bigger company with this bigger company culture, and then they want to be a part of that. They want to build alongside that. They want to step into that identity themselves. And so we're going to be talking about how to create a culture in your company and how to give people an identity when they are around you. This is going to change your content forever. This is going to change your sales forever. Rich Girl Renaissance is going to change your life forever. It's going to be you, me, and a bunch of bad business bitches. And we're going to have the best, most glam time ever. Okay. Tickets are in the show notes. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. We're almost sold out of the Sweet Life, our top tier ticket. That includes a full mastermind day with me after the event. So make sure you go over to the page, get your ticket now. If you have your ticket and you would like to upgrade, feel free to email me. I'm hello@michaelaj.com and I can help you out with that, or just send me a message over on Instagram. And I can't wait to see you in Dallas in September. It's going to be the best time ever. Now, let's get into this episode, how I made 6 figures in my first year in business. So let's talk about this. These are the 5 categories we're going into: practical, investments, personal, mindset, and manifestation. Okay. So let's start with the practical side of things because I love seeing that laid out for me. I like to see, like, how did you actually do it? Like, what were you actually selling? What's the practical shit going on? So in my first year of business, what my offers looked like was I was selling courses, and these courses were typically group coaching programs where we would have a call every single week or every other week, and then they would have modules every single week of the program. Or I would sell courses where I was teaching live every single week, but usually they were group coaching programs. So this meant they were a little more high ticket. My first program ever was $2,222. And I believe that I was selling something up to, I had a VIP option of that was $4,444. And then later on in the year, I had something more high ticket, but to be completely honest with you, I can't remember the exact amount that it was, but I want to say it was probably between the 5 and the 8K mark. All right. So I was selling courses and these group programs. I had, like I mentioned, VIP upgrades for almost every single thing that I was selling. So if you were to come in my original 2K group coaching program, there was a VIP option to get VIP calls with me every single month, multiple times a month at the time. One of the programs I ran, the VIP upgrade included a retreat with me, and we were in Cancun and we all stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Mexico, and it was so fabulous and so amazing. It's like still a core memory in my life to this day. So I had a VIP upgrade that included that. I did VIP upgrades even for passive products I was selling. So that was another thing I had. So this is the third thing I was selling. The first were courses in these group coaching programs, kind of coupling that together. The second is these VIP upgrades, and the third are passive products. So what do I mean by that? A passive product is something that's completely hands-off for me. So if you were to buy a passive product of mine, for example, one passive product I have right now is the Sexy Sales Summer Bundle. And this is a bundle of trainings, basically teaching you how to tap into your money mindset to scale to 10 to 30K months, and then the actual launch strategy you need to make sexy sales over the summer. So when you buy that, and I'll link it in the show notes for you guys, when you buy that, it's $222. You immediately get your login, you immediately get access to the trainings, you immediately get your emails, and you're in. You're good. You don't have to wait for an email from me. There's no calls. Like, it's all ready for you immediately. It's passive for me and it's immediate for you. We love that. So that could be a passive course or a bundle. A lot of times I was bundling together old lives that I did and then repackaging them and selling them. A passive product could be like a meditation bundle that you recorded. It could be, I sold a lot of ebooks at the beginning of my business. So I would do passive products, but then even on top of that, I had VIP upgrades for those. Okay. So this episode's gonna be so good already because you're gonna see how many things you can be adding and shifting in your business immediately. So even my passive products, if you bought one of my bundles, let's say you bought the Sexy Summer Sales Bundle, there will be a VIP upgrade where you can book a one-to-one call with me. There will be an upgrade that invites you to join my Florida VIP day on the checkout page. Like, there's upgrades right there ready for you. So one of the ones I sold my very first year was a bundle. It was called the Massive Success Bundle, and they could upgrade to VIP and they got one-to-one calls with me, kind of like I just explained. So that was another thing I was selling that also had the VIP upgrade. The fourth thing I was selling were retreats. Okay. I think my very first year I hosted, oh my God, my first year in business, I hosted 4 retreats. Wait, that's crazy. That is just clicking to me right now. What the fuck? Okay, sorry. I'm like, wow, I really was that bitch. You know what? And I didn't even have this in the mindset piece because I didn't even think about this. This is exactly why I made 6 figures my first year. Who the fuck does that? I have actually seen certain people, business owners online who specifically help other business owners sell out retreats. And I have seen ads from people say, like, don't host a retreat your first year. Like, you need to build relationships and build your community, whatever. My first year, I said, fuck the rules. I hosted 4 retreats. That is crazy. Dang, who did she think she was? She was that bitch. I have always been the type of person where, like, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to do it right now. And I'm not going to wait for anybody's permission. I'm probably not going to follow the rules, and I'm just going to do my own thing. So the retreats that I did my first year, I did one in Greece. I did one in the Bahamas. I did one in Cancun, and then one in Los Angeles, all in one fucking year. That is actually insane. Like, level 10 insanity. Okay. So this is part of the reason why I made 6 figures is because I was fucking crazy. Like, You cannot tell me another person you know who did 4 retreats in their very first year of business. I have never heard of that in my life. And I didn't even realize it until right now with this live reaction on this recording. I wish we were doing video so you could see my shock when I just said that out loud. So I was selling retreats. And at the time, my retreats were very streamlined, where it was just one cost for the retreat. Something that I've done later on in my business is create different tiers for retreats, where it's like you could book a solo room and pay a little bit more. You could book a shared room, pay a little bit less. I've done some retreats where you can add on VIP upgrades, stuff like that. So that has changed over time. But in this first year, retreats just had a flat cost for everybody going. Okay. And then the last thing that I was selling, I believe this is the 5th one, were one-to-one offers, whether it was a one-to-one coaching package, one-off, one-to-one coaching calls. Like I said, all the VIP upgrades. People could book like a 1-week intensive with me or a 1-month intensive offer. And so then that would be its own separate thing. But honestly, one-to-one coaching was never something I really focused on. A lot of people will tell you online, like start with one-to-one, get to know your people, and then make courses based off the most common questions they ask. And to me, that just sounded like so boring. Not like the work with my clients, but just like the very realistic of like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to answer their questions and then I'm going to put it like that. Like, no, that's just not how my brain works. I'm like, ooh, I'm obsessed with this topic. Let me go make a program about it. People need to hear this. It was never based off that. So I didn't put a big focus on one-to-one, but I did sell it and I did promote it. So it's important to put here. Now we can already get a picture of how I manifested 6 figures, because that is 5 different income streams my first year. All right. A lot of people go into business and their first year, they're only selling one thing. You might only sell one-to-one coaching. So to hit 6 figures, you need a good amount of clients depending on how much, your one-to-one coaching is. I went in, hit the ground running, 5 different types of offers. And when I say selling courses, like I was selling multiple courses. I was selling multiple passive products. So while these are 5 income streams, courses/group coaching programs, the VIP upgrades, passive products, retreats, and one-to-one offers, there was multiple things happening within each of those, right? Even the one-to-one offer, I was doing the monthlies, one-off call, a month intensive, a week intensive. Like there was just even the VIP upgrades. Some of them were calls. One of them was a VIP, retreat, whatever. So you might need to be adding things into your business. A lot of people will tell you scale this one offer and blah, blah, blah. That always sounded boring to me. And I'm a Manny Gen, so I need to do a lot at once. All right. Now, I'm just going to put this quick little preface in here, and then we're going to move on to the next section, is that when I tell you all of these things, this doesn't mean you should go out and copy exactly what I did. You should listen to this and be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I actually am only selling one-to-one and retreats right now. Maybe you need to add in a course. Maybe you need to add in a passive product. Like figure out like what works for you and what works for your business model. Maybe doing group coaching does not sound exciting to you, but teaching a group course where people are live, they can ask questions, but it's not coaching them, that sounds more exciting. Maybe VIP offers, doing one-to-one calls doesn't sound exciting, but you want to do some sort of Messenger, Telegram support. Great. Or you like the idea of a VIP weekend instead of VIP calls. Like run your business on your terms. That's something that's so important to me. So don't take everything else that I'm about to tell you, investments, personal mindset, manifestation, you can copy and paste all that. Okay. And that will incrementally increase your life. But when it comes to the practical stuff, have some discernment about like what works for you. Okay. You never have to copy exactly like my how-tos. You got to do it, figure out what's good for you. Okay. So then let's talk about the next thing. What was I investing in? Because I feel like this made the biggest difference for me. So I've told this story many, many times. I'm going to make it short and sweet for you. Before I even started my business, I joined a mastermind. The mastermind was $8,000 and I literally didn't even have a business yet. Okay. So during this first year, I immediately joined that 6-month mastermind. I joined the next 6-month mastermind as soon as it was over. I think before the 6 months was even up, I was like, put me in the next one. And I joined VIP and I got, I think within that time I had 3 retreats that I went on. in and out of these masterminds. Actually, it might have been 4 that I went to myself. Maybe no, at that point it was 3. Okay. So I joined multiple masterminds, and these masterminds, they weren't courses. It was just, we met twice a month as a group, and there would be group coaching going on. And if the coach had something that she wanted to share or teach, she would share and she would teach it. But mainly it was just like, we were masterminding together. We were doing these group coaching calls, building our businesses. And the reason why at 20 years old, I joined an $8,000 program before I even started my business is because I wanted to be in the room with the big dogs. Like, every single person in that mastermind was already making 6 figures. And I was like, I want to be around that. Like, again, I knew I was going to 6 figures. Like, there was no like, let's see if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it, but I want it. It was like, I'm going to hit 6 figures. Let's go. And of course I wanted it my first year, but I was also just willing to work towards it, even if it wasn't going to be in that first year. I was like, we're going to make 6 figures. Like, let's go. So I wanted to be around people that were already doing it, because I knew that I would learn from their mistakes. And I did. I would get on coaching calls and I would hear some of the questions they were asking, the growing pains they were experiencing. And so as I implemented and grew my business, I could keep all of their feedback in mind of the things they were struggling with and the boundaries they needed to set and things that they wanted to shift and how to handle certain client situations. And so I grew faster because I was around people that were doing it at a higher level. So I learned lessons through them rather than having to learn all on my own. And I think people forget the magic in that. And that's why it's so important to like get in the room, like come to Rich Girl Renaissance Live, like get into these rooms where people might be further ahead than you. Like, that's how you're going to learn and grow so much faster. Because also on a strategy note, like when I was in these masterminds, everybody was collaborating. Like, we were all going on each other's podcasts. We were doing shared Instagram lives. Like, anytime we would go to a retreat or be in person, we were all tagging each other and like basically cross promoting one another. So you instantly up level your visibility because you're around these other people with also an increased visibility. So on a strategy level, it made sense for me to be in a group with people who were established, who were really going for it, because that made me look like I was really going for it, and I was, right? So there's strategy around that too, but I was in multiple masterminds. Now, on top of the masterminds, I also had purchased at least 3 courses that year. I can think of like the 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. Honestly, it might have been more, but I was in multiple masterminds and I had 3 programs that I was in. And so somebody might look at that and be like, that's insane. Like, you're investing so much money, like your very first year of business, like this is quote unquote risky. Like, in my first month of my business, I had quit my job because it replaced my income. And so I was my sole provider. Like, I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't have savings. I didn't have family support. Like, I grew up very poor, as most of you know. And so it was crazy to be in these expensive, almost 5-figure masterminds. I think the second one I joined was over 5 figures and then multiple courses, but I was hungry. That's the difference. Like, yeah, I did 4 retreats. Like, I was fucking crazy. I was hungry for it. I was like, how am I going to get there faster? And so anything I saw as a resource, I was purchasing. Anything I was like, oh, okay, I'm growing in my business and I realized I don't know how to do this. Okay. And then somebody was promoting a course around that. I'm going to buy it. What this would look like let's say right now you have an incredible offer, maybe you have a couple incredible offers and you're just like, I don't really know what I should be doing for launching, right? You're like, okay, I put together this program and I know exactly like how to transform people's lives and I'm talking about it, but people aren't really buying. I don't really know how to launch something. And then you hear about, like, let's say my bundle I gave as an example earlier, okay? The Sexy Summer Sales Bundle, where I'm literally teaching you like how you should launch things so that you make sexy summer sales, right? So if I were in your shoes, I would hear something like that and I'd be like, I need to get in because I need to learn how to launch. Like, if I want to be getting people in this offer and I want to make money over this summer, I need to join this program. And I think people have kind of lost the art of that sometimes. Like, I know everybody over here is like in MJ World on my podcast is very like solution oriented. We're always looking to solve our problems. But I think sometimes that can be met with, I'm going to figure it out on my own way of solving problems. And that's going to take you like 100 times longer than coming and learning from somebody who has done it a million times and is good at it. So that was my mindset. I was like, okay, well, let me purchase these courses around these things that I don't feel very good at, that I know I'm going to have to get good at. And this is a really important distinction mentally as well, because a lot of people would say like, I don't know how to launch. I'm not good at this. Like, I don't know how to sell. Like there's the pathway where you doubt yourself and you go into kind of like a shame spiral and you get frustrated because you don't know how to do something. I was in a completely different lane where I'm like, okay, I actually don't know how to do this. I need to go learn. Like, which lane are you in? And maybe you're somewhere in the middle. You're like, oh, fuck, I need to learn how to do this. And how am I going to learn? And like, I wish I knew. And but you might be like ping ponging back and forth, but you really need to focus your mindset on like, I need to go learn this so I can be a better entrepreneur. I'm still doing this to this day, right? I think I've talked about this before, but when I decided to do a conference, I was like, okay, I have no idea how to host a conference. And I found a course talking about how to host a conference and I bought it and I binge watched it. And that's how I'm putting together my conference. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Let me go learn. And that was always my mindset. So I made investments accordingly, right? And I also mentioned here for investments is I went to 3 retreats that year, okay? 3 retreats. And this did everything for me. I want to talk about like what attending these in-person experiences did for me, because it really shifted who I was in the business. And that is so important, because you can listen to this and take the practical bits and be like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. I need to, sell some more shit. Oh, I should offer VIP upgrades. Oh, I need to buy a course that is going to teach me how to launch, right? And all that stuff is important and helpful. But if you're not also changing who you are, your identity, your mindset, your beliefs, how you view yourself at the same time, then it's not going to work, because these 2 things have to move in tandem. Like it has to be, I am creating this incredible strategy where people can come in and they can buy things that's going to change their life, and they can buy the next thing and that's going to change their life. And I'm the person that can teach them. I'm the person that can take them there. Because if you do all of these practical things and you don't feel like you can change their life, you don't feel like you are that person that can be that, you don't feel like you don't see yourself as a 6-figure entrepreneur, then you're not going to be. You're never going to out-manifest your current identity, okay? So what attending these retreats did, these in-person experiences, is it changed who I was fundamentally, okay? And I wrote down a bunch of notes of what it was. Like, it really showed me where I still had doubts, triggers, and limiting beliefs, which scary one to start with. But being in person and in these spaces, you really are faced with all of your shit. And as somebody who has been doing mindset work for like almost a literal decade at this point, like there's always something else that comes up. So for example, there would be limiting beliefs. Like if somebody was at the retreat or the event, they were sharing something or asking a question or strategizing something, I would hear the response and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I wish I could do that. And then it would immediately make me realize, oh, I have a limiting belief that I can't do the numbers she's doing, or I don't believe that I could do that. So it starts to mirror back to you where you still have limiting beliefs. There would be things like triggers. There would be moments where I'm like, oh, I feel like this person's getting more attention than me. And that makes me feel some type of way. And then it's like, oh, well, how can I make my presence known more? How can I go sit next to this person? How can I go start this conversation rather than being triggered, expecting them to, base their whole day and experience around me when they're probably not even realizing it. It made me see my own doubts of like, oh, I want to ask this question, or I want to talk about this, but like maybe that's silly, or maybe that's like a low level question, or maybe it's just not important. So I would be doubting myself. And these are things that wouldn't have happened if I wasn't in person, because it's easy to hide. Like if you're in a group program, it's easy to like hide behind the screen and ask a really specific question. And if you feel like triggered or annoyed by something, you can just hop off the Zoom room or whatever. And like if you have limiting beliefs, it's easy to just like brush it off. But when you're in person, it's literally staring at you in the face. So I attribute a lot of my fast growth to the fact that I was in person with people a lot, okay? Which, talking about, triggers, limiting beliefs, the doubts, fears, whatever, it feels like it's this negative thing, but it's really actually so positive, because I was basically starting my business with the best mindset I could possibly have. I was just having it staring me in the face, and I had to work through it and I had to move through it. So then some of these limiting beliefs and triggers that people still deal with 3-4 years in their business, I had worked on in my first 6 months. So I was mentally light years ahead. And that's why I ended up growing past so many of the people in the masterminds who were at 6 figures. And when I was just getting started, and a lot of them aren't in business anymore and, pivoted their lives, and that's fine. But it's like, I was able to go longer and create this huge success because I worked through all of this shit right away, right? And even the fact that like I didn't let being a beginner stop me. There's a couple girls coming to Rich Girl Renaissance Live who are just starting their businesses. They don't even have an offer yet, or they're putting together and selling their first offer, right? So there's going to be people there that you look at and you're like, oh my gosh, like they are who I want to be. And then there's going to be people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm just getting started. And they didn't let that hold them back. As a beginner, you could think like, let me wait till I built my business a bit and then we could have something to workshop, or like, let me wait until I have something to work with. I just have an idea right now, but that just holds you back. Like if you didn't get this from the practical section of this episode, it's like, go crazy, do all the things, do it right away, do it new, do it with nothing to show. Like that's what really shows people who you are, is when you're willing to like go to the top, go all in, do something fucking crazy without having the evidence of your ideas working yet. Okay. So a positive of being at these retreats and in-person events is that I was in rooms that normalized what I wanted to create, right? It was around these people making more money than me. A lot of them were older than me. They just seemed like their lives were more together than me. It was just this young girl in college, like duct taping my business together, figuring it out along the way. They had bigger podcasts than me, bigger followings. And I was there around them and it was just all so normal to them. Like, of course they were excited and happy and celebrating results, but it was also normal, right? Kind of like what you talked about at the very beginning. And so I wanted to be shoulder to shoulder with people who were normalizing what I wanted to have. Okay. What attending retreats and in-person things also did for me is it helped me practice embodying who I needed to be. Like I said, like we have to work in tandem with the strategy and your identity. Increasing who you are, being that person who can go create the transformation for your clients in these programs is so important. So I would show up to these events and retreats, really setting an intention of who do I want to be when I walk in the room. I would journal this every time I was on a plane flying somewhere. I remember one of the first retreats was Hawaii, and journaling on the plane and being like, who do I want to be when I get to Hawaii? I'm staying at the Ritz-Carlton for the first time in my life. This is going to be incredible. I'm meeting these girls for the first time in my mastermind. I'm meeting my mentor for the first time in person. Like, who do I need to be? Who do I want to be? If I want to get incredible content at this resort, like who do I need to be? I need to be fearless and not feel self-conscious taking photos in public, and not be afraid to whip out my camera and record an Instagram story on the beach. And I need to be, I want to be this like upscale, like mature, put together version of myself. And I want to be this girl who lights up the room. Like all of the things that I knew I already was, I just hadn't had the courage or the activation to bring it out of me. And when you're in person and you're around people, you want to bring your best self forward. And so doing that not only once, not only twice, but 3 times in a year really activated something for me. And that's something I'm really looking forward to for the women who are coming to my VIP day in Florida. If you didn't know, we're doing a VIP day in St. Petersburg, Florida in July. It's July 18th. And there are several women coming to that who are also coming to Rich Girl Renaissance Live. And they are going to feel so activated by December. These women are going to be blowing up because they are stepping into and embodying who they need to be multiple times this year. And that with in person, it just takes it to a whole other level, right? Now, attending these events also gave me a taste of my dream life. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm staying at the Ritz-Carlton. Oh my gosh, I'm flying all over the world. Oh my gosh, I'm being this version of myself I love. Like, I even remember an outfit I wore in Hawaii, and it was this pink little Aritzia tube top with these green trouser pants that I was obsessed with. I literally still have them. They're so cute. And then I wore these high heels. They were pink, and they had like fluffy fake feathers on them. And I remember taking a photo laughing with my hair curled at this doorway at the Ritz-Carlton Maui, and just being like, oh my gosh, this is my dream life. Wearing pink, fluffy, high heels at the Ritz-Carlton in Maui with all of these super successful women. Like, I was literally skipping school to be there. Like, I was skipping college. And I'm like, this is the best ever. Like, this is the best day of my life. Like, it was really a taste of who I was becoming, the life I was creating. And when you are in that in person, oh my God, when you get home, you're like, I never want to go back to this again. Like, I need to do everything in my power to make that truly normal. Like, my vision board felt more real, more doable than ever before, because I was feeling it, I was seeing it, I was in it and experiencing it for a moment, and it made me hungrier to create it for a normal. It also boosted my certainty. I talk a lot about certainty. Your certainty dictates your income, baby. That is so important. something about me is I just ooze certainty from head to toe, but it's because of these things that I have done. It's because I've gotten out of my comfort zone and did these crazy things that I can be this certain woman that I am now. And it's like, I felt certain around what I was creating because I felt it. I had lived those moments, right? That's what you'll feel at my VIP day in Florida. That's what you'll feel in Rich Girl Renaissance Live. It's like, oh my gosh, like this is what I want. This is what I want to be around all the time. I want to, pack my sparkles. I want to pack my feathers. I want to pack my favorite outfits. And I want to go just talk about content and business and mindset and manifesting like for a whole weekend with badass women like that are fit, that are fun, that are happy, that are positive. Like I want to live and bask in this energy forever. Like it makes you so sure that you're on the right path and so sure of who you are and who you're becoming. Like, oh my God, I could tell you about it all fucking day. Now, the last thing I'm going to mention, then we're going to move on to the next category of what, what attending retreats did for me in these events is I would make money at every single one. Okay. So that was a huge game changer for me. Every single one, I was making money. Okay. Because one thing about me is I am going to make money while traveling. Like that is my thing. I want to get paid to travel. That was always what I wanted, especially at the beginning of my business. So while on trips, I would take content galore. I always did photo shoots and I would put out fun offers, whether it was a promo on a current program, or I would start selling a low ticket masterclass, or I would start selling a new one-to-one offer or a new retreat or something. Because when I was in my travel energy and I was in this powerful, oh my gosh, this is my vision board life energy, I was such a magnet to getting exactly what I wanted. And I remember leaving that Hawaii retreat and one of my clients signed up for my next retreat while I was in the airport. And I also ended up manifesting a check because I got denied boarding on my plane. And it was like, I literally made like $4,000 like to go to Hawaii. It was like more than I even spent on the trip. It was absolutely crazy. I would make money at every single one because my energy would be there. I would be embodying that identity. And then I was taking strategic action steps with the content, with the photos, with the offers, with selling, with making sure like I was taking everything I was learning, implementing it and making money while traveling. Like, I'm like, that's just enticing enough for me. Or I'm like, ooh, when I get in the room, I make money. So I'm like, let me go do that more often. So those are the investments that I was making during my first year. Multiple masterminds. At minimum, I purchased 3 courses and I went to 3 retreats. I was going crazy, y'all. I was like a psycho status, but like, that's what it takes. Like if you're crazy, it's going to happen, And you know what? Let me segue this into the next category. I'm going to flip these around. We're going to talk about mindset next. I've talked a lot about mindset and kind of where my head was at, but I really just felt like I can do anything that I believe in. And this ties a lot to the practical and the investment side. Like if I believe I can lead this group program, I can do it. If I believe I can go sell out this retreat, I can do it. Like if I believe people are going to buy this VIP upgrade, they're going to. And they did. Like I can do anything I believe in. And if I don't know how to do something that I want to do, I will go learn. I will get in the room. I will invest in myself. That was my mindset. And I really viewed myself as like, I am my best ROI, return on investment. A lot of people want to see return on investment financially, which I absolutely understand. You put money in something, you want money out. But to me, that almost felt too transactional. It was like, I invest in myself, and every single time I invest in myself, that's going to, give me returns beyond the finances. It's going to change my energy. It's going to change how I trust myself. It's going to change how I view myself. And this is a big shift. I genuinely started to view myself as high value because I invested a lot of money into myself, right? When I'm thinking about a bag that I have in my closet, a beautiful designer bag that I have. It's from Bottega Veneta. And when I wanted to buy this bag, oh my God, I wanted it so bad. It's so beautiful. It is still in pristine condition. This bag is $4,000. I lived in LA at the time when I wanted it, and I went to every single Bottega Veneta in LA. Nobody had the colorway and the gold chain that I wanted. And when I flew to Paris, there was one at one store, and I bought it, and I almost cried, and it was the best day ever, and it was amazing. And I treat that thing like it is holy grail. Okay. There's not a scratch on it. Some of the original stickers to protect the hardware is still on it. Like it's high value. I spent a lot of money on it. I waited a long time. Like when I got it, it was like the greatest thing ever. So I view myself the same way. Now, this is just a silly example when it comes to like a material thing, but just to help you paint the picture. Like I view that as high value because it was expensive. I view myself as high value because I put so much money into myself in the masterminds, in the courses, in the retreats, in the flights, in the hotels, and everything. So anytime I'd invest in myself, even if it was a software, like I use Kajabi, I love Kajabi, and I was investing in that every single month. So it's like, yeah, I have a high value business. I've put a lot of money into myself and my business. And when you view yourself in that way, you are way more magnetic to receive more money because you're like, I'm high value. So yeah, of course I'm going to be highly compensated. Of course I'm going to be paid a lot. Of course I'm going to be, at minimum worth 6 figures in my first year. And that was my mindset when I invested in selling. Not like, how do I make this money back? It was like, now I'm even more of a high value woman. I'm now even more of a high value mentor for you to work with. And that was a really different mindset than what most people have. Now, another thing that was important to me mindset wise that I think really contributed to manifesting 6 figures my first year is certainty. Like I said, your certainty dictates your income. And I worked hard. Oh my God. I worked a lot on holding certainty because as somebody who grew up really not trusting anybody at all ever, trusting myself was difficult. And then trusting that I would get what I wanted also felt difficult. Trusting the universe felt difficult. Trusting God felt difficult. Like trusting that I was going to get what I wanted was difficult. Trusting the launch was going to work was difficult. But it was so important to me that I held certainty because I knew this is really what unlocked it for me. When I would go to these retreats and events or anytime I was in the airport, I would feel like a bad bitch. I'd be like, I am in this airport with my little suitcase and my matching bag and my cute little travel outfit because like very rarely will you catch me in sweatpants at the airport. I'm like wearing like knee-high boots and I've got a full face of makeup on. Like I am strutting in the airport, okay? So I'm like, I am a bad bitch. I'm going on this business trip. I'm 20 years old. Like I'm a high value woman. And I would just feel so good about myself. I knew who I was. I knew the value I brought to the table. I knew how interesting I was. I knew how incredible my work was for people. And I would feel magnetic. I would have the best interactions. I would get free coffee. I would get more people DMing me. Like I said, every time I would be making money on these trips. So I realized I need to bring that into my at-home work. I need to feel that level of certainty even when I'm at home in sleepy Nebraska at the time. Even when I was just in my house and I didn't have anything cool, crazy, and exciting going on. Like I needed to have that same level of certainty if I really wanted this to work. So that really ended up manifesting in 2 ways. Like one, I needed to focus a lot on my money mindset. I knew I needed to have more certainty around money. I had some really fucked up money stories at the time. So I had to work a lot on that. And then I had to work a lot on my certainty in big launches and really like holding that certainty, especially when you're in a launch and it doesn't feel like you're going to hit your goal, but you still have like a week left, or I would have like 2 weeks left. And it's like, no, I need to hold the certainty and keep going. And that was so challenging for me at the time, but it was something I really, really worked on because I knew like, if I want to grow this business to 6 figures, I can't be doubting the entire way. So the last thing with mindset that I really focused on was clearing all those limiting beliefs, the limiting beliefs that would come up when I was at these events, the limiting beliefs I had around money, the limiting beliefs I had around launches, limiting beliefs around doing it all. Because at the time I was in school as a double major. Again, I was running and growing my business. I was doing my podcast. I was going live like twice a week. I think once on Instagram, once in my Facebook group. I was traveling. I was working out twice a day. I was seeing some friends. Like I was doing so many different things, right? And I had to do a lot of work on like, how do I handle this? How do I do all this without getting overwhelmed or saying I'm stressed out all the time or not sleeping? So I had to clear limiting beliefs around that so I could have certainty in where I was going and who I was. And it was like, I can't feel like, oh my God, I don't know how to do all this. And then I expect to get even bigger results in my business. Like if I feel like I can't manage it now, how am I going to manage it the next level? Like you cap yourself. That's where your manifestations can't outwork your identity. So I had to do that work and clear those limiting beliefs. And I think that combination of all of that mindset work really contributed to the 6 figures. All right. Now, I've kind of touched on this, but the next category number 4 is personal. So when I was manifesting this 6-figure first year, what was personally going on in my life? I was traveling almost every single month, which was crazy. Not like Ritz-Carlton first class. Okay. A lot of road trips, a lot of group boarding 9, a lot of Airbnbs. Okay. It wasn't looking booked and bougie like it is now, but I was traveling monthly. I was still in school. Like I said, I was a fashion and a French major. And kind of like I just mentioned, my schedule was booked. Okay. I was scheduling my days by the hour from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And I bet somewhere buried in my office closet, I could find it, my journal and my planner from the time. Like I had this gorgeous Kate Spade planner and it was like, had a pink cover with gold writing and it was a hardcover, but it was still like a spiral planner. And I would get in there every single day, write out exactly what I was doing hour by freaking hour because I was doing so much. And I was obsessed with growing the business. Like truly, my mindset around my personal life and like just Michaela the human was like, okay, time to crush in school. Great. Let's get this over with. Done. Bye. Okay. I want to work on the business. I want to work on the business. I want to watch another training. I want to learn this. Okay, great. We have a mastermind call. Cancel all plans. Got to be at the mastermind call. Okay. Now I need to learn this. Okay. Oh, there's a free training. I'm going to be there. It was like, I was so obsessed with growing the business personally that it was like all I could think about, all I wanted to talk about. I was so excited about it. And I still feel this way. And my personal life reflected that. I was like, I think I've shared this story before, but after my kind of like spiritual awakening or when I started doing personal development work, I did lose some friends because we just drifted apart. We, didn't bond over the same things anymore and we just couldn't relate. So in that time when I used to spend with my friends, I was now working on myself and building the business. So for somebody that might be like, well, what about your friends? What about your life? At the time, the person that I was dating lived in a different city. So it's not like we were hanging out like every night. It was like maybe once a weekend or every other weekend. So it's like I didn't have, kind of any dating interferences. I only had like 2 friends that lived in my city. So would kind of see them casually whenever. But I was really, really locked in on myself and my goals. I was in what I call now a strict girl era without even making it strict. I was just obsessed. And then I was also working out twice a day. I was doing one like workout lift in the gym. And then the other one would be a walk / a run. Because fun fact, in college, I tried out to be a cheerleader. And you had to do at cheer tryouts a 2-mile run in under a certain amount of time. So that's when I used to run, but I never ended up making the team. And I was really salty about it because I was a cheerleader my whole life. A good one, if I do say so myself, but it was such a blessing in disguise because if I had gone that route and had made the team, I wouldn't have traveled as much and I wouldn't have been able to grow my business in the same way, or like my business would have looked completely different. So everything always works out. But fun fact about me. So personally, that's what was kind of going on. I was like, okay, I didn't have as many friends. I didn't have a big dating interference or like not a lot going on like family wise. I never saw my family. So not a whole lot of socializing from time to time, but not a whole lot. It was just me focusing on my business, going to school, working out, traveling, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Why I feel like this combination of things, my personal life contributed to the 6 figures. One, it just provides context for you, but 2, why I think it really did contribute is every time I would travel, I was making money, like I said. So that's going to impact your income. Like I was so inspired, creative, the energy was right. I was in school and I actually want to say this, that I think I would have made way more money my first year if I had not been in school, because one, that was obviously taking up a lot of my time, but mainly like time doesn't really matter here. But honestly, what it is I hated college at this point. Like I loved what I was studying. Like I love French. I love fashion. I love marketing. I was studying all of these things. I was studying PR. Like I love talking about social media, obviously. And so I enjoyed the topics, but I hated school. I didn't feel connected to anybody. I didn't feel understood. I always felt weird. I felt like, why are we doing, like, I had so much resistance and I would cry in my closet almost every single day before going to classes because I had so much resistance. And it took me 3 years to finally drop out of school, which was crazy. So I think that honestly, school was a little bit of a hindrance just in my personal stories. Like if I had dropped out, I would have released so much resistance and I probably would have skyrocketed even faster, but everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. And I think really taking my schedule seriously absolutely helped manifest 6 figures, because I've said this before, like if I were to take a look at your calendar, I would know exactly what your priorities are. And you might say your priorities are different. But your calendar tells all. Like if you were to look at that schedule, that 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. hour by hour schedule, you would be able to tell me confidently, Michaela, your focuses are, or your priorities are business, working out, and taking care of yourself. Like it was just so obvious. And because my time was actually aligned with my priorities, of course, I ended up reaching my goal. And I was moving my body a lot, right? So it's the workouts twice a day. And I think anytime I'm really in a good rhythm with moving my body, I always make more money because more creativity, more capacity, you trust yourself, you feel better about yourself, etc. All right, let's move into the last category here, which is manifestation. Like how I was manifesting the 6 figures. What was I really focusing on when it came to the manifestation work? I was hyper fixated on my next level self. And if you're newer here or you haven't listened to my older episodes, when I talk about next level self, this is just the version of you who has all the things that you want. If you think about, like, I think about that next level self version of me now, okay, that's the version of me who makes 6 figures in 1 year, right? I have a multi-million-dollar brand, but I haven't cracked the 7 figures in 1 year yet. So I think about, okay, who's the next level version of Michaela who makes 7 figures or 7 figures a year? And I was fixated on who's Michaela that makes 6 figures a year in my very first year. And I'm not kidding you. It was, when I say hyperfixation, like it was a hyperfixation. Every single decision I made all day long was referencing that. What would the 6-figure version of me do? What would the 6-figure version of me do? What would the 6-figure version of me do? Over and over and over and over and over again. To the point where I was like, what would she eat? Would she go to bed right now? Would she journal? Would she do an extra meditation? Would she do this? Like every little thing. Oh, I got an invite to go out with this person. Like, would I go out? Would I take those plans? Would I go to this yoga class? Would I do this? Would I ask that person that? I also, at the time, I was in a fashion club at school, and I was also actually a writer in our school publication. I had a fashion column. And so I was like, oh, would I take this opportunity? Would I do this? Would I do that? Every single choice I was making was going through the lens of my next level self. And that obviously starts to manifest, my 6-figure life, because I'm being the 6-figure version of myself over and over and over and over again. That's literally how you start to collapse time on your manifestations, is you become that person, and then that life just follows suit naturally. Always, what would my next level self do? What would my next level self do? Anytime I felt like, ooh, okay, I need to make a decision, what would my next level self do? So even if you are on the fence about joining Rich Girl Renaissance Live, like what would your next level self do? She would get in the room. And this is exactly what I told myself about the masterminds, about the retreats, is like, oh, should I buy another thing? Should I go to another event? Should I do, should I add on another trip? Should I add on, if you're already coming to Rich Girl Renaissance Live, you're like, oh, should I add on the VIP day? It's like, what would your next level self do? What's in alignment with your vision board? And I'm not just saying that so you come to my thing, which I obviously want you there, but it's like, that's the energy and the level of commitment to my 6 figures that I had. And that's why I made it my first year, because every time I asked myself that question, the answer was yes. She would go. What would my next level self do? She would get in the room. Would the 6-figure version of me do this? Abso-fucking-lutely. She would abso-fucking-lutely. She wouldn't even second guess it. And so then I would be shaky and I would still be a little scared, even though the next level self would be like confident, yes, let's do it. I'd be like, hey mentor, I actually want to do it. What's the payment plan? Like I would still be a little scared, but I would go and I would do it. And I was committed to that. And I took that seriously. So it wasn't just like pulling decisions through that lens. It was actually making that decision and then also following through over and over and over and over again. So that's going to collapse time for you. I also, manifestation wise, I always started my day getting into the energy. Every single day. At the time, I had this like crazy 2-hour long morning routine. And I love that. I love that era of my life where, I'm not kidding you, I'd literally wake up in the morning. I would make hot lemon water. I would make avocado toast and usually a smoothie bowl. Big breakfast, girl. Like the smoothie bowl would be like a protein smoothie bowl. And I would journal. I would do morning pages, 3 full pages of writing with my crystals, with frequency music. And then I would do like a full bath ritual. I would sage a Palo Santo every day. Like there was a whole thing. There was like goddess mantras at some point. There was like mirror affirmations, everything under the sun. Okay. There would be like my workouts, my walks, like all of the things. And the reason why I did that, now I don't take 2 hours. Actually, you could argue I still do, because I go and I work out every single morning, except for like Sundays is usually my rest day. But The reason why I did that is because I really needed to start my day getting into the energy. I lived in a state that I did not want to live in. I did not want to be in Nebraska anymore. I felt trapped in my like current life circumstances at that time. I felt trapped in kind of a dingy apartment. My view was the parking lot. I felt trapped in my degree, and I just felt trapped. And it was like, okay, I felt trapped being around people that I felt were so like normal. They weren't growth minded. They weren't positive. They weren't doing big things for themselves in their lives. And so it's really important to me. It's like, I need to get in the energy. I need to become the energetic match for six figures. I need to become the energetic match if I want to live out that vision board lifestyle that I felt on that retreat at that event. And I did that religiously every fucking day. And that really helped me manifest the six figures because I did become the energetic match, right? And you have to be. Okay. Another manifestation thing that I was doing, and this is a part of how I was starting my day, is I would journal through resistance as soon as it would come up. If I noticed a limiting belief, a doubt, something I was resistant to, something I was worried about, I was getting in the journal. And let's say I was in school, or let's say you're at work and something comes up for you and you're like, Michaela, I can't just whip out my journal like a crazy person and journal about my biggest fears while I'm at work. Totally. Same thing for me when I was in school. So I would actually open the notes in my phone and I would write down what I was feeling, like the topic. And maybe it was like money scarcity. So I'd write down like money scarcity. And then when I got home, I would then journal about it. When I had a moment, I would go journal about it. But this is the difference. A lot of times people will set that intention and then they don't follow through. And then you wonder why you don't trust yourself. For me, I was relentless about moving the resistance. I did not let it linger. And so many people let it linger. I would go home and I would journal about it. Or if I could, I would journal about it in that moment. And I was moving through it. A lot of people don't crack six figures because they let their resistance just sit and simmer and put its claws in you when you really need to be freeing yourself, truly. So that really helped me get to six figures because I didn't let any limiting beliefs bog me down. If I was wanting to make, six figures, like over $8,000 a month, $8,333. Like if that was like crazy money. 5 figures is 5 figures a month is life-changing money. And it's like, if I want life-changing money and life-changing results, like I can't sit in like low level fear. I can't sit in this like sticky, boring, dry resistance. Like those things are not a match. So I refuse to let that be my reality. Okay. And the last manifestation thing that I was doing that I would really attribute to, making the six figures my first year is I was taking action like a crazy person. Yes, but with this point specifically, without needing any external evidence. I joined that mastermind for $8,000 before I ever launched anything. Actually, I didn't even launch anything until 3 weeks into the mastermind. Like we were almost a full month in and I still hadn't done my first launch. I was still putting it all together, which if I were to go back in time, I would be like, girl, we could do this a lot faster, but whatever. So I did it all without evidence. I didn't need to have the business started to get in the room. I didn't need to have made X amount of money to go invest in the mastermind and the retreat. I didn't need proof that people were going to buy to go launch my offer. I didn't need proof that people would listen to start my podcast. I didn't need evidence that it was working for me to continue selling to people. Like I didn't. I just kept taking action like a crazy person because again, I knew where I was going. I knew, and this is what I think about manifestation all the time. I think about your manifestation is the end zone, like on a football field. It's the end zone, and you want to run all the way down into that end zone. And for me, if I'm on the other side of the field and I'm looking at the end zone, I know where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Okay, I don't know how long this run's going to take me. I don't know if I'm going to get tackled. I don't know if I'm going to have to reroute. I don't know if we're going to backtrack at one point. I don't know if I'm going to get an injury and then have to take a water break and get back. I don't know, but I know that I'm going to the end zone. I know that I'm going to build six figures. I know six figures my first year. I know I'm going to have 5-figure months. So I know where I'm going. I don't need evidence. I don't need, somebody to come up and say, hey, you did it. Like I'm coming from the future. I'm coming back in time to tell you, you did do it. I don't need that. I didn't need any external validation. And because of that, I could run and push myself and go, where most people do something one time, they launch the podcast and they get 2 downloads and then they quit. I think there's some crazy statistic out there that like most podcasts don't make it past like the first 6 episodes or something. I could be totally butchering that, but it's something very shocking. It's like a huge percentage never make it past their first year or something. I don't know. I should have looked it up, but that's because they don't see the external evidence and they just stop. I can't even fathom that. Like, you can't knock me down even if you tried. Like, even if you did knock me down, I'm going to be crawling to the end zone. Like, it doesn't matter. I was just going. Are you just going after it? Are you going after it and are you getting it in your business, in your content, in your life, in your sales, in yourself, in your dreams, in your vision board? Like, are you actually going for it without holding back, without needing evidence, without needing to see the ROI within a certain amount of time, without anything? Just you, yourself, your big dream, the universe and God on your side, and the fucking resilience and the relentless nature to go after it. Like, can you do that? I could do that. I was willing to do that. And was it scary a lot of times? Fuck yes. And that's exactly why I always had to journal through the resistance. Were there days that I would get in my head? Yep. And I would go journal through it. Were there days where I didn't want to make a next level self decision? Where I was like, oh man, I know my next level self would do it, but I'm not seeing the evidence. Oh, I know my next level self would join this mastermind, but I haven't made these sales yet. Oh, I know my next level self would do this and upgrade her flight, but like, I don't have the evidence of this. Like, there were days that I had that in my mind. I just didn't let those thoughts win. Most people do. And that leads to a very unfulfilling life because it always feels like you're waiting on something when you're constantly putting things outside of yourself. And I just decided to be a crazy person and bet on myself all the fucking way in the most wild ways possible. And that's exactly why I made 6 figures. That's exactly why. Even I could have ended this episode at the beginning saying I hosted 4 retreats my first year. Like, that is clinically crazy. Like, who does that? Nobody ever even advised me to do that. I just kept doing it. Like, I just did what I wanted and it worked out. Like, that was insane. But that's the whole point. And it's the whole point. When you want to manifest 6 figures in your business, you've got to go crazy. You got to go crazy. So these are all of the biggest lessons and shifts and investments and mindsets and energetics and all of the things that added up to my first year being 6 figures when I was 21 years old, just a little peanut in Lincoln, Nebraska, driving her Ford Fusion before I had the Tesla, doing my nails at home, just making it happen, but still getting in the room over and over and over and over again. So I find this stuff super interesting. Let me know in the comments on Spotify if you would like another episode on this about how I've manifested multiple 6 figures. We could keep building on this kind of series over time if you guys are interested. And I would love to know, like, what's your biggest takeaway from this? We obviously talked about so much here. Like, what do you realize that you need to add? Maybe it's that you need to get your ass into Rich Girl Renaissance Live and get your ticket. Maybe it's that you're like, I want to get in the room multiple times. I want to be in that embodiment. Maybe you need to join the VIP day. Maybe you realize on the practical stuff, you need to sell more shit. Maybe you need to reprioritize your calendar. Maybe it's your mindset. Maybe you need to start believing that you can do anything you believe in. Maybe you need to start making more next level self decisions. Let me know what is really resonating with you from this episode. I would love, love, love to hear from you. And of course, if you haven't gotten your ticket to Rich Girl Renaissance Live, you absolutely need to before our top 2 tiers sell out. The Sweet Life is almost sold out. Our top tier ticket, of course, you can grab our regular entry ticket, the Signature Experience, or the Icon Access, kind of our middle VIP tier as well. And if you have any questions about Rich Girl Renaissance, you can message me. Or if you're curious about the VIP day in Florida, we have literally 1 spot left. So if you are interested, message me so I can send you the deets so you can claim the last spot before somebody else does. Maybe I'll let 2 people in if you ask nicely. All right, ladies, I will talk to you next Wednesday. I'm sending you so much love. I can't wait to hear how this episode resonated with you, and I will talk to you soon.